Growing up, we're told democracy meant many things. We're told it meant that your vote counts, that the press can speak freely, that the government answers to you, not the other way around. We're told this system was the opposite of what came before it, the opposite of soldiers dictating our lives, and the opposite of top officials sweeping election results under the rug. We believed it. But today, we're not so sure we're experiencing what we were told. June 12, 1993, exactly 33 years ago, Nigerians stood in line and produced what's still seen as the most credible election result in the country's history. MKO Abiola was the clear winner, but 11 days later, former military leader General Ibrahim Babangida cancelled the results just like that. That historical trauma is exactly why we mark Democracy Day this day. Our current unbroken stretch of civilian rule actually started later in 1999, but look at what the political class has turned it into. During the 2023 elections, we saw the political class threaten our democracy for selfish gains. We saw citizens openly threatened, intimidated, and beaten up at polling units just to stop them from voting. It looks like things won't get better in the upcoming 2027 elections either, because the federal government has already locked 135.22 billion naira into the national budget, not to run the elections but to fight it in court afterwards. A government that budgets that much for post-election litigation before the election has even happened is not a government that trusts in its own process. Democracy was supposed to guarantee us a free press and the right to protest without fear of disappearing into a cell. But that's not exactly our current reality. In 2024, Olumide Thomas was tracked down and arrested for cursing President Tinubu. Olumide Ogunsanwo was arrested for criticizing Tinubu and the police in the same year. In 2025, Rita Uche was harassed for complaining about the hardship in the country. The list goes on. What type of democracy is this where citizens are not free to speak? And the press? It's even worse. Take Segun Olatunji for example. He was tracked, blindfolded, and flown in a military aircraft to Abuja, where he was tortured for publishing a story indicting Tinubu's chief of staff of looting $30 billion. Look at what happened in August 2024, when Nigerians took to the streets to protest about hunger and hardship. Security forces opened fire, killing at least 24 peaceful protesters and detaining over 1,000 others, including children. How different are these from things that would happen in a military regime? You be the judge. The Constitution promises 3 independent arms of government built to check each other and protect citizens from abuse of authority. Instead, that protective system has been completely pocketed by the presidency. In October 2024, the National Assembly approved a new national anthem within 1 week, with almost no public engagement. Right after that, lawmakers approved a $2.2 billion loan request from the president within 48 hours of his asking. We've even seen lawmakers chanting solidarity songs for President Tinubu right inside the plenary chambers, the very room built to hold him accountable. And what about the judiciary? Or our supposed last line of defense? Institutional policy reviews show that the executive uses discretionary control over funding releases to keep the courts dependent. Instead of true financial independence, top judges are routinely given luxury cars and housing units by politicians as public gifts. When a judge's career advancement and welfare rely on the discretion of the presidency, the scale of justice has already been tilted before a case even enters the courtroom. Let's be clear. Democracy is far better than a military dictatorship. The oppression of military rule was brutal and must never be allowed to happen again. Another thing that should not be allowed is military dictatorship tactics and tendencies in a democracy. It is ugly and unacceptable. Our democracy is not healthy and we must fix it. We can't fix it by being afraid or by folding our hands. We can only fix it by refusing to be silenced and by using our collective voices and strength to push away the people threatening it. The political class put together cannot and will never match our collective strengths. Happy Democracy Day, Nigeria. Now let's talk about what we are actually going to do to protect our country.